of getting that idea converted into something that customers will want to buy and putting it in a place where they will buy it. So innovation involves, of course, invention, but it also involves a number of other things. Oops, here we go. And these are all of the sort of the business things that are important. And in my consulting career, I can tell you that most of my consulting has been with technology companies. And I would go to the technology company and inevitably you'd meet with a CEO or executive vice president, and they would want to tell me all about all of the wonderful inventions that they have. They give this long list, a laundry list of inventions. And I say, well, that's really very interesting, but talk to me about how are you manufacturing this stuff? You know, what you do? Talk to me about all of the other stuff. Because it's the other stuff that's a part of the innovation process that gets it to the marketplace where money is developed and profits are made. And the interesting thing is, most of you couldn't tell me. So when you're looking at the world through my eyes, invention is really important, but it's only half of the story. It's been said, and it was said by a professor at Stanford named Paul Romer. Paul Romer said that invention is the fundamental source of value in industrialized society. It's pretty powerful stuff. And if you think about it, I mean, every single company in the world is making money off of someone's idea. I don't care how basic the company is, it's still some intellectual capital that got it started. That's the fundamental source of value in everything that we do in our society. And although that's the fundamental source of value, it's not the source of profits. Profits come from innovation. And this is a really big difference. It took us a while to figure this out. A lot of what I'm giving you, by the way, it took us about 10 or 15 years to figure it out. It sounds like kind of like common sense. What took you guys so long? But this is the way it is. Now, intellectual capital is interesting in another way from an economic kind of a perspective. My intellectual capital. An idea, a basic idea, has absolutely no value by itself. Economic value, none, zero. Really important thought. It has no value by itself. The value comes when it is added, when it is matched up with someone who has the knowledge or know-how or skills or capabilities to do the things that turn it into something that will generate a profit. Remember, intellectual capital is knowledge that can be converted into profit. My definition. Okay, based on that definition. You have to have an owner, a user, and the owner and the user brings to the party things that breathe life and value into the invention. And that's what the innovative process is all about. It's about manufacturing or distribution or whatever all of those things are that are necessary to convert a basic idea into something that people will buy and therefore generate profits for us. So the first thing is that the value of any idea depends on the context. Context is largely thought of as the owner's capabilities and so forth. The second thing that's important about intangibles in business is that they have characteristics that are different from tangibles in business. Tangible assets, buildings, floors, tables, so forth, all have what, in economic terms, we call one value stream. They are used for one purpose and one purpose alone, and that's what they do, and that's their value to us. But an intangible can be used for multiple things simultaneously and develop a whole series of value streams all at the same time, which means that an intangible has much more leverageability than does a tangible asset. And that's part of the reason why they are so valuable to us in our world, is because you can do so many things with them. So for purposes of example, my hobby is cooking. I'm a pretty good cook. So, in fact, I'm so good I'm on a diet now. I'm a little too good. So suppose I have a recipe, and I'm going to give it to my friend Javier. And in my story, this is not true really, but in my story, Javier does not know how to cook. He's probably a very good, well, he is a very good cook. People have raved about his cooking, but in this story, he's not a good cook. So if I take this recipe, which requires a lot of technique and braising and slicing and techniques, and I give it to my friend Javier, it's worth a lot of money to me. And Javier looks at it. What am I going to do with this? I mean, Javier, wonderful as he is, cannot boil water without burning it. So, and the reason is that what I have in my head is knowledge and know-how about all the things necessary to make this into a wonderful dish. Okay? And that's the difference between what is the value of that recipe to me and what is the value to Javier. Now, another thing is, in addition to giving it to my good friend Javier, I decided that I want to open up with you. You and I are going to go, and we're going to open up a chain of restaurants. And we're going to use this recipe as the theme. And once we get that going, then I'm going to go to you because you're a publisher of cookbooks. And we're going to do a cookbook around this with all the other recipes. And then I'm going to go over here, and I think you look like someone who could open up restaurants in Albania, and I'm going to give you a license to this restaurant idea to open up restaurants in Albania. And I'm going to give you the license for Australia. Okay, you getting the picture? All of these things have, did it go down to zero? Okay. All these things have, there are multiple simultaneous value streams. So, there are different kinds of companies in our world, and different kinds of companies use their intangibles differently. It's going to take me 2 minutes. One kind of company is a value chain company. Manufacturing would be an example. It takes things and puts them together and adds value, and then sells that to the customer. So that would require one use of intellectual capital or IP. A value shop, people like me, or doctors, or CPAs, we solve problems for clients. We take our knowledge and apply it to the client's problem and solve it. There's a value network company. A value network is one where the company creates some kind of a network and then sells the service over the network, like the telephone company. Each of those kinds of companies would use their intellectual property or their intellectual capital differently. So, for example, here's a table, and you can see on the left, value chain, value shop, value networks. And here's some of the different kinds of intellectual capital. So a value chain company might use its knowledge, know-how, relationships, and its tangible assets as a part of the profit equation. Value shop will be different, and value network is different again. So every different kind of company uses its intellectual capital differently. And part of what the gathering companies have done is to figure out the fundamental concepts that underlie how that's done. And that's what we have been publishing in our books. This is not a commercial, but if you want to know the detail of how to do that, here are 2 books that might be helpful. The book on the left is a book about how companies are actually applying the concepts that the gathering created to make profits from their non-IP intangibles. And the other book, which was just published, is how they are making profits from their IP, their patented intangibles. If anyone wants to know some more of the detail, which more than we can go into today, I encourage you to do some reading. So, to summarize, intellectual capital is a business asset. For business purposes, it has two major elements, and you can make money out of both. It comprises a major portion of the value of businesses. We don't know what that portion is in detail, but we know that it's increasing. And IC is the fundamental source of value and revenue and profits. And there's lots now written from the gathering and from other sources about how you can do that, and I would be happy to talk to anyone at length because I love to talk about how to make money out of intangibles. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Patrick. Sus preguntas son bienvenidas. ¿Dónde tenemos la primera? Por favor.
Good afternoon. I'm Jorge de la Fuente, right here in the back. Okay. Well, we have several patents in the company, but we somehow have not
¿Puede
been
hacerla,
able...
por favor? Disculpe, ¿puede hacerla en español?
En español, claro que sí.
Acá.
Claro que sí. Buenas tardes, doctor. En la empresa tenemos varias patentes, pero no hemos sido capaces de convertir ninguna patente en algo que pueda ser redituable como cobro de regalías. Hasta ahorita ha servido más bien para bloquear a la competencia. Entonces, realmente no he visto el caminito, porque todo el mundo trata de sacarle la vuelta a las patentes de los demás para no pagar. ¿Cómo se le hace para realmente obtener regalías de las patentes? ¿El invento tiene que ser muy especial? Okay.